All right, now this is a story we had to bump yesterday because it got very busy with Preb's resignation and the like. But a story, nevertheless, I think is important because it highlights how insidious anti-Semitism can be. And I will give you a brief breakdown the story before I talk to my guest. Remember there was that terrible stabbing of a young person down at the bus hub in Dunedin, and caused real concerns. It was such a random and strange crime. So, in a good move, the Otago Regional Council gets together and decides to run a safety campaign to encourage people to keep out for themselves and keep themselves safe, particularly around transport hubs and that transport hub. So they launch a ratepayer-funded safety campaign that includes a poster and, of course, online posters and everything. And it has a bunch of young people with some message. And one of those young people is wearing the old Hamas tea towel, the Keffiyeh. And then there were complaints about that, and they said you cannot having someone wearing a politicised piece of clothing in a general safety ad. And actually what happened was the ad was withdrawn, though that itself has sparked its own piece of controversy. Well, one of the people who did campaign and brought this up from the Israel Institute in New Zealand was David Cumin, a regular guest on the program, and David joins us now. David, I first saw this story and thought, well, what's all this about? And I thought about it, I said, okay, it is kind of an interesting example. What was it that got you about the ad?
Well, I think you summarised it fairly well, except for one really important detail, and that is this young person was not just wearing a keffiyeh. They were also wearing a necklace with the outline of the map of Israel and the disputed territories. So if it was just the keffiyeh, then all of the arguments of, you know, this is my heritage and culture, etc., and standing next to someone who's, you know, clearly of a different ethnicity or whatever, maybe you could get away with. But when you insert a map from the river to the sea, that is very clearly a much more political message than anything cultural. Then it is a real problem that a council in New Zealand is inserting politicised messaging into a sadly needed safety campaign. Yeah.
Now, David, this was a posed photograph. They didn't just go down there and snap away and then use a cinema verite shot. I just want to establish how this happened, because that I'm trying to get to the level, if you like, of connivance in this.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. We've asked the same of the council, and while we wait for the Official Information Act Legoima response, what we do know is that the council outsourced this essentially to a youth group, which sounds like a really nice thing to do. And these kids, you know, obviously affected by the terrible incident, and everything seemed really fine. What seems to have happened is one of the youth in this group, at least, is from a fairly well-known activist family of the anti-Israel Palestinian type in Dunedin. That's not fair. I don't think they're responsible. But they have obviously inserted...
Hang on. Why raise it, David, if you're not going to name them, if they're fairly well-known?
Because the council is to blame here. They should be the adults in the room. They're the ones that claim to be neutral. They're the ones that commissioned...
Was the girl wearing the necklace and the keffiyeh, was she from this family?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not being a Dunedinite. I'm not sure who it was. Okay. What was the name of the youth group that was given the contract to take the photograph or run the campaign?
I don't have that to hand. I'm sorry, Sean. Yeah. I'll have to look that up.
Okay, so they didn't even use a professional ad agency or in-house. They just went to
they may have had professional photographers and some other creatives. We don't know. Because we don't have all the information yet. They haven't been forthcoming, and so we've had to put in a Legoima request. But it seems like the council essentially outsourced this, which seems like a reasonable thing to do. But they made decisions on the content, and now they've doubled down on it, saying that it's a freedom of expression argument, which
but
I'm all for, as you know.
Didn't they pull the ad with the photograph in
They
it?
changed. They changed the one online, but now because some of the council executives were away at the time, now they've come back. They're standing by their ads, and we think that the posters are not going to be taken down.
Oh, hang on. So this has to live. In some ways, I'm glad we didn't get to you yesterday. When's this in the last 24, 48 hours?
Yeah, about that, 36. Yep.
Okay, who are you dealing with at the council, David?
Their chief executive has replied to us to say that he supports the ad. It's all about tolerance and inclusivity, and
So, isn't it? It's all about not getting
argument.
stabbed at the bus stop, actually.
Well,
Isn't it?
Well, yes. I think there was meant to be an underlying message of, we're all in this together and we're all part of Dunedin and New Zealand and let's be inclusive, which is a lovely message. The problem is it's undermined because there's someone there who's saying, not if you're Jewish or Israeli.
And that I'm quite happy to dress up and support a group that kills people and stabs people in their beds and rapes them and lets them die in captivity and starvation and parade them on television.
Yeah, it's possible that they don't support the terror groups, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, PFLP, etc. It's possible that's true, and the Keffiyeh was more of a expression of their heritage. But the map on the necklace is from the river to the sea, and that is clearly politicized, clearly no space for Jews or Israel.
Let's flip this round, David. What if it was someone waving an Israeli flag?
Well, exactly, and that's kind of my point back to the chief executive is let's split this into two things. The first is absolutely, exactly. If there was someone wearing an IDF shirt because that's how they identify, there might have been a problem. If someone's wearing traditional Russian attire and had a map of Russia and Ukraine, there might have been an issue. If someone's wearing a Man Up shirt, there might have been an issue. And it's exactly what you'd said in your introduction. This is an insidious normalization of Israelophobia, and it's really deeply concerning that the council cannot see that that necklace and that Keffiyeh combination is a political, highly controversial,
well, they can see it.
Message.
They clearly can see it, and they saw it before they published the ad, David. They are just saying we want the right to be anti-Semitic.
No, well, I'm willing to give them a slight benefit of the doubt that they didn't fully appreciate the necklace and symbolism, etc. But we've explained it to them now. And for them to still not understand it is concerning.
Okay, what's the name of the chief executive down there?
Mr. Stevenson, I think. Again, I don't know.
Okay, we'll get on to him, and we'll try and get on to the mayor there, though. They're horribly woke.
The other point that I wanted to make, though, is I'm a staunch defender of free speech, as you know, and I defended the right of people to burn the Israeli flag at their anti-Israel protests in Auckland. I don't mind people wearing the keffiyeh and the necklace. I know what it means, and I find it uncomfortable and abhorrent and terrible. That's their right. For the council to put that in the campaign is a completely different issue. And that's where I think there's a difference, that the council, again, claim not to really understand. And so hopefully we can get some sense across in our communications, and we're looking forward to their reply. I know that
and
some
even
people
though
have
you
also
know the young woman wearing the necklace and the keffiyeh, can I presume you've identified, and she is not like a Palestinian or Arabian?
Oh, no, I think she is. Her family claims to be Palestinian.
Oh, okay, she is Palestinian. Oh, okay, all right.